And from there, I was like, all right, here is my whole catalog. I made you're the only person that's getting these on a CD. These are all for you to use however you want. I love your stuff. The next thing you know, we had a Sufi and a Killer, and we have 20 more songs from that era that have never been heard by anyone that are...
So these are older collaborations that are coming out now.
Yeah, a Sufi and a Killer is older, and Muzzle is even older. And the stuff that we have now is just getting older, but it's as magical as it was then for me. Right. And I think it will be to his fans. And I just love the guy. He's a yoga instructor in Vegas. And he studied Bikram yoga with one of the main instructors and got an offer to teach in Vegas. And out there, he has a house that he can fit his 4 kids in comfortably. He doesn't have to live in a 1-bedroom in San Diego because it's so expensive, or live in LA where it's also pretty expensive. So he has this nice house in Vegas, and he teaches yoga, and he just does music on the side. I feel like sometimes he doesn't even care that much. He's more of a yogi than he is a music person, which makes the music that much more crazy. He's a very, very talented man.
So basically you would send stems or tracks back and forth
full
LA
tracks.
And, yeah.
Between LA and Vegas, yeah. We started in San Diego, and then I moved to San Francisco, and I started making some stuff and sending it to him from San Francisco. But then when I moved to LA, that's when the volume of it all got turned up, and I started doing more. And the energy in LA was feeding me and making me feel like way more hungry. Way more hungry.
So it seems, of course, I got to come to this, the LA scene, you know, it's real vibrant, a lot of heat coming from LA at the moment. Does it feel oversaturated? Does it feel just like stimulation to kind of feed the fire? How do you feel at the moment about the LA quote unquote beat scene?
There's a lot of attention on it, and there's a lot of people hating, a lot of people saying we sound the same, a lot of my elders that I look up to talking shit. I won't mention any names, but they're just like, yeah, this fucking Ableton bullshit, ruining the fucking world. There's no more beat makers, like no more music makers. They're all just making beats, and anybody can make beats. And there's a lot of hate right now, but the community, when you're in it, it's fucking amazing. I mean, there's no stopping us. Southern California in general is insane, and San Francisco even, like all of California, the beats that I'm hearing from everyone, it doesn't matter how people view it, it is what it is. It's fucking dope. Yeah. The music is fucking amazing.
It is.
And they're young kids in their early 20s making shit, and it's incredible. And I got a lot of hate directed at me lately, and it's definitely messing with my head a little bit, and it's hurting my heart. But I know when I'm in LA and I'm with my people and we're doing Low End Theory and we're showcasing this young talent, it's better than anything that I've ever been involved with in my entire life. And no matter what anyone says, you can't take that away from us. It feels so good. It feels so right. And it feels so good to give back to a community and have the community give back. And our shows are packed, and the sound is great, and everybody's so cool and so grateful, and it's great. And write whatever you will and hate however you want. It doesn't even matter. Like, nothing can stop the flow of positive energy that's happening right now. It's fucking overflowing, flooding into us, and everybody's feeling it, and we're all challenged by each other. And instead of living in the shadow of these amazing beat makers that nobody could figure out their formulas, now we're all trying to just do our thing. And I miss revering. I still like look at Dilla like an alien or a god. I still think that DJ Shadow's first 3 records were so savage, and I still look at Dabri like a god as well, and I don't understand it. And no matter how many beats I make to try to sound like that, it will never be as good. So I know that there is magic in that scarcity, that rarity. That moment was so special. But you can't hang on to that and dwell on that. Like, it'll never be as good as it was. Like, no shit. Move on. We got so many young people. We probably haven't even heard the dopest stuff. I'm a fan of old music, but I don't even think we even know what's coming.
Right.
We probably have some kid. We had a 12-year-old play at Low End 2 weeks ago. 12-year-old producer, Frankie. And this kid, the music wasn't very original, but he's fucking 12. He made it from scratch with his computer and the plugins and the soft synths and everything and the drums and all these, who knows exactly what software he's using, but Steve Nalepa is a music teacher out there, and he's been teaching these classes, and all these kids are coming out of his classes killing it. Virtual Boy last night at Low End Theory, these young kids from Orange County, and they're both white. It's like perfect targets to shit on and make fun of. And guess what? They're fucking hard as fuck. Their music is insane. Last night they performed at Low End, all analog, no computer. And they killed it, and the beats were heavy, and it was like so impressive. And then Free the Robots, also from Orange County, Filipino kid got on, smashed it. And I even said to the crowd, this is OC in the house tonight. I want you guys to have a little faith in yourselves and have faith in Southern California. I'm from San Diego. Like, you got to know that it's spreading and it's good. And technology, it's definitely producing a lot of crap. But dude, there's so many records. Even when you had to pay mad dough to get in a studio, we dig for old records all the time. There's a million bands back then too. They just somehow got the money from somewhere to record an album. And that album went out and is sitting there in some dollar bin. And there was just as much music being made back then. I don't really see that much of a difference. Like, there's still so much music. There was so much music. There's gonna be a lot of shit. It's just the way it is. There's gonna be a lot of crap, but there's also, coming out of that is the future, and the sounds are changing, and it's awesome. And I'm stoked to be a part of the community. And I know these answers are fucking long-winded, but I'm a Jew, so deal with me.
So I had the opportunity to come play with you in August. One of the things that stood out to me the most was you would go out to that back patio of Low End Theory. Virtual Boy was there without performing.
Yeah.
John Wayne was there without performing.
Yep.
Seemed the power in that scene was that, the people who were starting out in it were supporting it, and it kind of just fed itself. We have a couple nights here, monthlies, in Austin, in Applied Pressure and Exploded Drawing. What kind of advice do you have for people who are starting to go in an experimental or instrumental or just off the beaten path night, being a successful resident?
Stick to your fucking guns. There are no rules anymore, and there never were. If you listen to old records from the 60s and 70s and the old modular, crazy experimental records from the 50s, like, there were never rules. Whoever made them up is a dick, Just be yourself. People want to see your soul. They want to hear your heart. They don't want you to sound like their favorite producer or whatever. And with Low End, there were 20 dudes bobbing their heads there for the first month, and we had an amazing lineup. And Bus Driver and AWOL1 and Ab Rude were at the top of the lineups, and Flying Lotus and Daedalus and Thavius and Free the Robots. They were at the bottom of the bill for that first month. We only made one flyer once, and the people that were at the bottom of the bill are now, we can't even put them on the bill because the line will be around the fucking block and then some. So we built it from nothing, and it was nerdy and dorky and dude-filled and broed out, and It was a sausage fest, and people truly cared about the music, and that's the people who were there. And we played every week, regardless, whoever was there, even if there were only 10 people there. Well, I don't think we ever had only 10 people, but it was like 20 people max.
Right.
Just do you, you know? And if the community doesn't support it, move. Don't kill yourself for a community. Like, as sad as that sounds, San Diego is a beautiful place. There's such amazing people there. The weather is fantastic. The rent is pretty fair. The food is great. There's all kinds of beach bunnies running around half naked. What else do you want? The major community didn't get behind us. They just wouldn't. The b-boy scene was tiny. It was like always playing for the same people. And out of that there was a lot of competition and a lot of hate. And the promoters, you couldn't get in. Like, they were starting to play favorites, and there were only a few clubs you could play at. And then we started fighting, and then people started playing electro. And that's when it all went to shit, where people were just like, I gotta make money off this because I don't want a real job. So what do these blonde bitches want? That's what I'm gonna play. And they fucking gave their lives away, man. And God bless them, they're fucking paid. And they got all kinds of hot girls around them. But they play fucking garbage music that's for ignorant people that might as well just be like,
So let me ask you this. Say you're playing a record.
Sorry, that was a little harsh.
On that note,
If any of my friends from San Diego hear that, they're going to be like, thanks, Dick. Really appreciate that.
On that note, say you're playing a record. A girl comes up to you and says, I need something I can dance.
Acid in her face. Who's pretty now?
All right. So all joking
Sorry.
aside, a lot of nerds out there, a lot of cats who want to start in music. What is your creation process? Where do you start? How do you end?
I don't know how to fit drums under a sample without it sounding like just not right. So I start with the drums. That's just me. I have so many loops in my catalog that I'm like, yeah, this is dope. And then I get a kick and a snare, and I'm like, nope, that won't work. And I've never been like that much of a drum machine guy. So when you 16 level a sample and you add drums on 16 levels, like, you know, if you don't know what that means, I'm not gonna get into that right now. But if you do, you know, you got these samples and you add drums to samples chopped up. You don't loop stuff and add drums underneath and try to mix two records. That's what I was always trying to do, was finding samples that went together and lay them on top of each other and like edit them together where they sounded the best and loop that. And I'm still doing that sometimes, but it's so hard. And I don't use Ableton, and I know a lot of people have been telling me, oh man, that type of shit is so much easier with Ableton, you should really learn it. And you just snap it to grid and you put these markers in and you can make it fit so much easier. And I appreciate that. And I'm not saying I don't want to learn new things, but I have this formula, and it start with the drums, get the drums tight, and then play some music over it. Even if you're not a musician, just get a fucking keyboard and play some music over it. It's not that hard. And a lot of the most amazing music, a lot of the best rap beats are just straight loops. And a lot of the best music is really simple. I'm not like a classical music fanatic, and obviously I appreciate it, and I appreciate the complexity of music of all forms, but it's just not the goal. The goal is to make something that make you, in my community, the goal is to make you feel it, you know, make you, if you don't bob your head to it, then at least it brings out some kind of emotion in your heart. And some of the best music in the world is simple, and always remember that. That's what I always think about, like, damn, I'm playing the same bass line again? Fuck. But one day, out of 50 of that, there's gonna come one song that's like, oh, there it is. Same bass line, but this song is dope. This is the one. And then you add stuff over that, you know? And I know my place. I'm not a musician, but I know what sounds good. And LA has tons of musicians, as does Austin. You got plenty of people that are trying to get out of their band box and they want to play on your record. You'd be fucking surprised. You get some hard ass drums cracking, 3 minutes of drums. That's what I do. I got 3 minutes of drums and I call Computer J and I'm like, yo, what are you doing? He's like, chilling in the studio, come over. Go over there. I'm like, we're listening to some songs. I'm like, let's jack that bass line and do something with it. And he's like, all right. And then we change it, variations of it, and we play a different sound. You'd be amazed what like a rock and roll bass line sounds like through a Moog. It will totally change whatever you thought that song was. You just have a brand new song. And I think that musicians have been doing that for years. Led Zeppelin robbed the blues blind. And they didn't even give credit to that shit. And their music is so badass. I don't care who they robbed. Do you? I fucking love Led Zeppelin. I listen to that shit all the time. You know what I mean? And I love how the Beatles got influenced by Indian music and that changed their whole world. And I don't care if Within You or Without You was played by other musicians. They got it done. They got it done and brought it to mass media and brought it to the world. I might not have heard Eastern sounds like that before that. I didn't. When I heard Within You or Without You, we were walking, you know, that Beatles song is so sick. I don't care how they got it done. And I don't think people really are gonna look in the fine credits of my album and be like, damn, this fool didn't even play any of those instruments. I don't think and if they do, fuck them. Let them hate. I'm not doing this for me. I'm doing it for the gods. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm doing it for. I'm doing it for the energy of the earth that brought us all here. That's what I want, is to keep good music going. And it doesn't matter how it gets done, you know? And I was so concerned with just it being just me. But instead of practicing writing and reading music or practicing an instrument that was very, very musical, I just was scratching, which can be musical. It's a percussive instrument, though. That's why I was drawn to the drums. That's why I make the drums and I get other musicians to do stuff, because that's where I was drawn to. That's me. I can't play every instrument. That's not my goal, is to be a virtuoso. It's just to make dope shit. Even if it has no drums, you know? If I could just play an ill synth line and then get some strings with it and just... And beyond all that, you're having fun, right? And there's not that much of that left nowadays, in my opinion. So if it makes you happy, that's what you should be doing with your time, you know?
So connected to that, the whole sampling history of hip hop and onto electronic music, about 30 years deep now. The first cats looping records, and then further on we had cats who were chopping. Who for you are like the real standouts at the beginning of that era with the chops and looping? Who sticks out?
Organized Noise, Public Enemy beats. Go back and goosebumps again. Go back and listen to Public Enemy beats. Oh my God, that shit makes you want to fucking kick grandma in the head. Like, it just makes you want to do the most evil shit in your brain. Like, the most meanest shit. Just like fucking flip the table over and just rip your shirt off. And, ah. That's the type of savage shit. And it was like James Brown loops.
Right.
How did they do that? How the fuck did they do that? Parliament and James Brown loops, and somehow they made this. That's the shit to me. Like, sampling has been done over so many times, and then when I heard Wu-Tang, it was like, what the fuck is that? I swear, I don't know anybody who can make loops sound the way RZA did. Nobody. There's nobody that can do that still to this day. Nobody can reproduce that shit. Not even with an SP12 or 1200 or ASR10 or Ensoniq. Any of those vintage keyboards, doesn't matter what you do. That was RZA. That was him. He invented that, and nobody can fuck with that, you know? And like what Portishead did with their sampling / covers. It's insane, you know? And the older stuff, the real shit that sticks out to me is Organized Noise. That is like 1988. And whoever was producing Ultramagnetic beats, that kind of like drums are banging. That's the main focal point of the whole song. The drums are snapping, just sounding so big, and 1 or 2 horn stabs, and then a little synth wiggle or something. So simple. But those are the beats that make me want to dance and make me want to fucking kick this table over and just jump on top of you with a cast and just kick your leg, your broken leg, or whatever it is you got going. Sorry, leg.